So our next storyteller is a 6th generation Vermonter. Can anyone else say that in this room? I just want to know. Like, any other 6th generation Vermonters? Hey, way to go. I'm impressed. I am. And so Bill Torrey over there is our 6th generation Vermonters coming up. He has shared a very memorable New Year's that involved a broomball game, a tractor, and some thin ice. But I'm going to let him tell that another time. Right now, he's going to come up and tell us his story for the night.
Holy moly, Sue. That was great. Yes, my family didn't move to Vermont until 1767. In 1967, just a scant 200 years, we scraped up enough money to buy our first snowmobile. And when we did, why, we was more popular than a punch bowl at a barn dance. Kids were run out of their house like it was on fire when they hear that snowmobile start up. Within about probably 2 days, there wasn't a patch of snow within a half mile of our house that hadn't been flattened by that snowmobile. And we didn't care that we was just going around in circles. All we cared is that we was going. Which led to my dad saying, quite emphatically as he poured the upteenth gallon of gas into the machine, that if you give a kid something with a motor on it, they'll just go apeshit. Now, I don't know how long it took for man to figure out how to put a cart behind his horse, but it only took about 5-6 days before we realized we could tow shit behind that snowmobile. It started out with just a flying saucer on a good long piece of rope. That turned into multiple flying saucers on many pieces of rope, and that turned into a winterized, motorized version of roller derby of us trying to knock each other off our flying saucers as we're towed around the field at breakneck speed. But the best thing that we ever towed behind the snowmobile was this huge behemoth of a thing that my dad made. You see, my dad was a wicked good mechanic, and his philosophy always was that if something was good standing still, you could always make it better by making it go. He took an old motorcycle frame, stripped it right down, took the motor and everything right off it. He took the wheels off it. And then on the back, he put a long axle, about a 6-foot long axle. And then for skis out on the end of it, on each side, he took about the last 4 foot of a bus bumper, you know, where it goes around the corner of a bus, where they had that corner for a ski out on each side, like outriggers on a canoe. You know, like them crazy guys paddle on a Hawaii 5.0, you know, one of those. And he put another one out underneath the steering column out front. And then we called this thing, we named it the Iron Horse. Because the Iron Horse weighed approximately, 3,000 pounds. But to lighten the design a little bit, he made the seat out of just this 4-foot long bare 2x4. It actually turned out quite good, though, because your ass couldn't stand the pounding on it for only about 5 or 10 minutes, and it made the turnaround time for kids waiting for a ride manageable. And once again, we hooked it up behind on a good long rope, which allowed you to zigzag along behind the snowmobile. And as an extra bonus, if you were going downhill, allowed you to pass the snowmobile because there was no brakes on it of any kind. My dad was good at making things go. He was only fair at making things stop. Well, one Saturday afternoon, us kids was out towing that behemoth around the field as full throttle, trying to get some air with it, going over snow drifts. But it wasn't panning out the way we wanted because the thing was so heavy, it was just blasting right through the snowdrift. But my dad was watching, and he come up with an idea. My dad always said you come up with enough ideas sooner or later to get a good one. This was not one of those times. He got a 4 by 8 foot sheet of plywood and two 55-gallon barrels, stood the barrels up out in the field, leaned that piece of plywood up against them, shoveled some snow onto it, and made a doozy of a launching ramp. Of course, we needed to draw straws for a test pilot, and my older brother won, or lost, depending on who you ask. Now, why any father would allow his 12-year-old son to go over a jump like that on a metal monstrosity like the Iron Horse was one hell of a good question, and one that he had to answer when my mom come home and from shopping and saw what we was doing. And boy, she got even hotter when she found out that he was the second one to go over that jump once he saw his son had survived. Thankfully, I never got to go over the jump. My mom stopped us. I was only 10, and I really wanted to see what 11 was going to be like. But my brother, he got to go over it twice, which almost made us change the name from the Iron Horse to the Nutcracker. Well, eventually, we got tired of towing stuff behind the snowmobile. We got older and got into high school, had more important things to do. We even got sick of going around in circles. But I found that there's a lot of things in life that have us going around in circles. And sometimes those things will bring us back to something good and wholesome. Just a little while ago, I was out in the barn with my 5-year-old grandson, and he looks at me, he points at the things in the corner. He says, "Grandpa," he says, "what's that over there?" I said, "That is a 1972 Skidoo Olympic. Used to be my dad's." I said, "I haven't used it in quite a while. We'd have to fix it up before we could run it." And he looks at me and he says, "Grandpa," he says, "can we fix it up and use it?" And as I looked at him, I could see the excitement in his eyes, and I see the familiar lines of the old machine over there, and I swear to God, I could almost hear the laughter and squealing of kids playing and the sound of a 2-cycle engine just purring along over the snowy fields. And I looked at him and I said, "James," I said, "that sounds like a peach of an idea. But if we do, we're going to have to get us a flying saucer and a good long piece of rope." Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks.